Price has been doing absolutely nothing. Do you want to go down a rabbit hole, which I seem to have gotten lost in, coming off of a VIP call, and I want to try to explain it again in hopes that I produce a better result of, people understand, because what I'm about to show you, I don't know. I honestly don't think you can find this type of content anywhere else. I don't know if it exists. So, and the reason I want to do it today is because price is doing exactly what I drew from my past videos, like almost to the 5-minute candle. We need to talk about price that we drew. So let's go down a freaking rabbit hole. Are you ready? Okay, let's go get it. Let's make sure that I have my audio on. You can hear me? All right, let's get it. I'm not going to do any music today in the background. A lot of you would be fine, or prefer that, because I need to be able to concentrate on this. And this is the time to go ahead and, actually, no, don't hit the like button yet. Hit it if I show you something that connects even mildly that you had never seen before. Let's do that. And I want to know, so by the amount of thumbs ups, so even if you're a regular thumbs upper, don't do it yet. And if you already did it, then undo it. Like, I'm for real. I want to know at the end of this, I want to be able to count, like, how many people got it. From that VIP call, 3 maybe, or 2, can't remember. 1 definitely, right? But I think 2 or 3. Let's see if I can do better. All right, because I need to measure my results. The rabbit hole we were going to go down, or I attempted to go down, was, let me make myself big again. I was trying to explain a feeling that you get as a person who's new to price. And it's very similar to trying to remember back, or this describes you currently. You zoom into some type of price action, like this behind me, and it just, you look at it and you're like, I don't know. I have no idea what would come after this. Like, not a clue. I don't know what to do, right? And it's foreign, right? It's not just the whole jargon of, oh, that's an EMA. I went through that too. That's just part of doing the work. You got to get through the jargon of the industry and what you're trying to accomplish here. Not saying that. I'm saying looking out at price and the chart, almost, okay, here it is. It's similar to the feeling that if you are a person who has never studied astronomy even to a basic degree, okay, which is most people, you can't look up and say, that is Mars. Or on a cloudy day, know that, or like if it's a day where it's very light clouds at night and you see a red planet, there's a chance it could be Jupiter. If you're not following stuff, but they both look red and are big, and they're on the exact zodiac. And since you probably live in the same place, so I'm describing what people who know astronomy are. Like, where the planets go. That in the northern hemisphere, they go like this across the sky a little lower, and in the summer, they're up higher. That's just the way it is, right? But so most of you listening to that is foreign to you. Like, zodiac, I thought that was the astrology. No, zodiac's a real ass thing. And once you see it, you don't ever unsee it. Like, it's just a known thing. Like, the planets go on this line. You just know, like, you don't unknow it ever. And you kind of get the sense of direction too. Like, that line is never over that way. It's always that direction. So, for example, it's always out my back door about that high. The planets are never anywhere else, ever. For example, maybe not north, south, east, west, right? It's never out the front door. Not once, and it never will be. But so listening to that sort of thing can be foreign to most of you. You don't know what that feels like, most likely, right? And so that's the feeling of being foreign. And if you get that feeling in the charts, like, whoa, that's kind of the feeling I'm going for here. But inverse to that, the people who do know what I'm talking about with the whole zodiac stuff and just knowing where the planets go, you got to remember the first time you understood it and you realize, oh, that is what it is. And then you'll probably go, oh, I always thought it was just an astrology. That's what I did too. So I remember the moment. It's like, oh, it's a real thing. And it's just that. All it means is the planets are always right there or a little higher. Huh. Simple, right? Okay. And so I'm going to try to break through. So here's the rabbit hole I'm trying to go down. I want you to be able to, I guess, see that in the charts. The planets are always here. And that's what I'm going to try to do. All right. And so that should be good for both parties as recipients of that, the preface there. Because either you know how foreign what the hell I just said was, so that's good. We're going to try to take that away, right? Or you're a person who's broken through and perhaps has not broken through on the charts, so you kind of know what you're expecting here. All right, here we go. Whew. Hopefully I don't swing and miss so hard. Like, give me a foul tip or something. Okay. And I had to take my damn contacts out earlier because I'm struggling right now with trying to figure out if I'm going to wear glasses or contacts. All right. Let's say that we are flipping back and forth between the 4-hour chart let's do the 1-hour chart and the monthly chart. And what we're going to try to do here is help you break through and to be able to automatically know, I guess, what's next based off of every other time this situation happened. Okay, if I can lock that, this happened, well, what led up to that situation? Like almost like domestic violence calls. I'm trying to get you to the point where you get the call, that's the candle, and imagine you're the cop going over there like, it's one of, this is how it's going down. It's going down this way. Or so, like this is what we're going to do. Or he already knows before the fight started what led up to it because he's already had like 100 of these calls, listened to 200 stories, right? Because a couple fighting. And he already knows that there are 3 common denominators. It only builds up 1 of 3 ways, and it's almost always involving alcohol. For example, okay? I'm not dissing alcohol necessarily, but I mean, it's probably true. Like, I would say every single call of a cop, so leading up to this, like I'm trying to get you to get this in the chart, okay? And imagine being that cop, right? And I want you to just already know. You can look at a monthly candle. I know what led up to this fight. Or, even better, maybe I don't know, but there are definitely, I know it was one of these 3. That makes sense? And then know that the information from the chart, if it's the exact same scenario, it will mean something different. So what led up to the situation is different because the chart's different. So it's almost like, even though on the monthly and the 4-hour, it might sound like the same call, but in reality, one's domestic violence call and the other is, I don't know, maybe it's like a psychotic breakdown or like mental health or something, or I don't know what it is. And so going to there, if you get that type of call, right, then there are different avenues that lead up to that. For example, all right, we're going to, but then also you have an idea how you're going to end your visit there. How am I going to get in and out and like back home safely as soon as possible? So I know what is. I have one candle. I know what led up to it, and I kind of know how I'm going to seal this bitch up. Okay? And you're going to draw all that information off of one instance. That might be a better way to explain it. So let's do an exercise where this is, you are looking at a small time frame, but you actually know that you're actually looking at a month. Okay, it's the first 9 days of a month. I apologize. You're looking at the first 9 days of a month. This is 9 days. Okay, so the only two pieces of information we have right now is this foreign object that's totally foreign to us, right? Remember the cop. We should be able to look at this with just this information. 1, 2, nothing else. You should already know if this is 9 days and you're relating it to the monthly chart. You already know what this candle looks like. Exactly. And so that is just kind of like, so what I just said there, okay? And if you want to know what the candle looks like so far, it would be, well, the open. So this is like super basic. If you don't look at this and already know what the candle looks like, then you're probably newer, and that's fine. So let's do that first. But I think at least half of people on here should be able to look at that and work it out. And then if you do it 10 times, you should automatically know, hopefully. This is 9 days. What does the monthly candle look like at this point if it is 9 days? The opening was exactly here. So that means if a candle is like this, okay, I'm going to put it yellow for now because I don't know what color it is. Like we haven't walked through this, right? I already know that either the top or the bottom will be exactly there. We know that just from the length of time and the yellow shape. Only two pieces of information. Now we are the cop already knowing what led up to it, right? Or no. Actually, I apologize. No, right now we're the cop already knowing roughly what the call's about. Oh, domestic violence on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, kind of, you can kind of picture. It's one of these three, how this call ends the report, to call me out there. It's probably, it's probably looks like this, right? So we are just doing this middle part. We're only identifying what this looks like. We're not looking at information beyond yet. So all we're doing is going from small to big. Like we are looking at the guts of an animal only. You haven't seen the animal yet. You just wake up like out of nowhere and your head is inside of a big ass animal that's warm, kind of like a Star Wars moment where he crawls inside the animal, the woolly white animal. Like you wake up like these are the guts, right? Like what animal is this? You don't know. But if you crawl into that animal a lot and you find yourself in there again, you're going to know, it's that big white one. All right. Yeah, I already know. Just from the guts. And I didn't even have to see the animal. And that's what this is. This is the guts. And so for me, I'm a weirdo who has slept inside of animals, I guess, because this is where the analogy is going. Like I'm just but that would mean in the chart, I study the chart a lot. I'm very comfortable with price action. That's all it means. But it's a weird way. It's a weird analogy. But it's working so far, so let's go with it. I think it's working. And don't hit the thumbs up yet until I pull a string, in a good way. Like I need your brain to go, and those are so don't thumbs up this video unless that happens. I'm serious, just for this one. All the others, always hit the thumbs up, okay? And on Twitter. All right. But for this one, I need to measure my success, please. All right. So don't skew my results. And feel free to thumbs down it if you didn't understand jack shit of what I'm saying. Like, yeah, do that, please. Even if you're a regular thumbs upper for this video, let's just call it, this is a science experiment. I need to measure results, please. And I'm taking that very seriously. Okay, and so don't just try to be nice and hit thumbs up. If it's 0 thumbs ups and 10 thumbs downs, that's what I want to know. I don't want you to be nice. Just like I'm not nice with you. I yell at all of you to sell. I yell how important it is to hold tether and how stupid it is to be buying Luna and meme coins and how crazy it is to be saying, oh, buy the dip, right? Like, I am mean about it, so be mean back to me. Don't be nice, because I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear. So do the same to me. All right, here we go. We already know from just these 2 pieces of information, trying to figure out our base here before looking in the future or in the past, that either the top or the bottom will go there because the month started exactly there. So the guts, okay, that's a stomach. Ding. If a stomach, that means the head will be somewhere up here. You kind of start knowing, right? So it's going to be one of these 2. But now that we mark this off as the open, you can see very clearly that all of this surface area is green. Oh, I am too big. And this surface area here is red, with this line here. And remember, we only had 2 pieces of information. And we should know this. Like, we already know, like the cop, he already kind of knows how the report's going to call it, like, end. You know, it's one of these 3 ways, right? And when you look at this and you know that it's 9 days of price action and you say, okay, what does that mean on a month? You should know this. So that's step 1. Okay? All right, so what does, and visualizing this line, and it prices above it, but it did spend a little time below it. So if it is a green, so from this we can deduce currently it's a green candle 9 days in the month. And it started here. And it had a fairly small wick down. So we have the open here. It's currently here 9 days in. So right there, right, I'm lining it up with the exact end of price. And it's green. And it has a wick exactly going. I'll just mark it off. What's wrong with that? Green candle can't have a red wick, Tim. That's accurate. It's a green wick. That's exactly what the monthly candle looks like at that exact moment. And you should be able to, you know, if you are in crypto pissing with this volatile asset and you cannot look at this knowing it's 9 days of price action, and somebody says, what does that look like on a monthly scale? If you can't deduce that, I mean, honestly, for me, it's instant. Like, I actually instantly know what comes before and what comes after. Especially if this were 30 days. We'll do that next, though. For the before and after, I need to make this a whole month. It's just, yeah, it's a lot cleaner. But so just realize that you are in an environment where it's the most volatile price, maybe besides the price of oil. The price of oil is really volatile. Whew. Wow. But crypto is still more volatile. And I'm trying to tell you that if you can't deduce what we just did here within 5 seconds, you're playing with fire. Reading too many fucking white papers. Get on a chart. You are going to be the one that I make money off of next bull run, and I don't want that to happen. Hell, I mean, I take that so seriously that I freaking regret starting off my channel simply talking about coins that, I had interest in. Right? And because I had interest, I had them already. And I had no followers. I just wanted to help I literally had a private group making videos for them, and then I just made them public or whatever. But the unfortunate situation behind that is, whenever I made a video, like, even if I just said, like, it could be pretty bullish right here, and then I could see the candle just, like, what are you people doing? Right? I don't want that to be you. You're gonna, yeah. So you need to be able to, if you are in crypto, doing that first step, I think, is a requirement. If you can't do that, you need to spend less time on white papers and like like all the fundamental stuff. You need to be able to do that and then go back to the fundamentals. Baseline chart knowledge. You now know where the zodiac is. Maybe you don't know how much brighter Jupiter is than Saturn. Okay, we'll get there later, right? But you had that aha moment. Shit, the planets are always out my back door, roughly this high in the winter, that high in the summer. You need that baseline of knowledge in order for you to not get your ass handed to you. I'm telling you, your white papers aren't going to save you. They're not going to save you. Being able to do what I just did within 3 seconds. If that, and again, I'm ranting on this because I bet a lot of you, like, for this is, I'm talking to you, which is great. Don't feel bad if this describes you. Like, no, I'm the next level up. Like, no, this describes you. That's fine. All right. And if you don't understand what the hell I'm saying, then hit the thumbs down. But if I do break through to you later, then hit the thumbs up, please. All right. Whew. Okay. That was step one. Now, where did my fractal go? There it is. All right. So all we have done by this point is, in the cop analogy, we just ended the call. We're in our car heading out. We already knew the address, and we were already driving over there as, I was getting more information. Okay, over, like all the descriptions about what's going on in the house, over, you're already driving, okay? But as that's happening, over as you're driving, you're imagining, okay, I kind of know how this call will end, right? That's all we've done there. That exact image. Cop can already imagine the 3 most likely situations of how that call, like the rest of the information before it's given, it'll be, he will either be given a circle, a triangle, or a square. Even though he hasn't heard the rest of the conversation, whatever is said over, it'll be one of those 3. That's what we just did there. Okay. Now we're going to do, in that exact instant, now that the phone call is over, all right, now the cop knows which one of those 3 it was. So before the phone call was over, which this is 9 days, the month's not over, we are literally that cop in that car, only halfway through the call, but he's already on his way because they started with the address, please head over. Now we're describing it. We are literally in that snapshot now. And so the cop knows that there's about 2 or 3 more minutes of information coming, and it's either going to come in form of an orange, I guess, apparently this is orange, an orange circle, a white X, or a star. Make it red, because red planet, whatever. Planet's a star, it's the same thing, right? If you say so. All right. And so the cop, knows he has 2 more minutes of information coming to him as he's driving to the address. And that's where we are, because we're 9 days through. The call hasn't ended. We haven't seen this candle close. But we know, based off this information, when you go back in time and a monthly candle starts looking like this at the first 9 days, where it only went below the line to do a little bit of red and then a bunch of green, and it based on it and went higher, right? So it's not just straight up. You have this strong of a green candle with support, with a pullback. So under those conditions, all the times in the past that that's happened, hell, you probably only have two. The cop knows the rest of this conversation will be one of these two things. If the candle were like this. So what are those two things? I already know. Think about it. 9 days in, what happens next? And why? We'll get there. All right. And so that is the predicament of, oh no, I might tell you. Actually, I should tell you the two pieces of information. Sure, I should finish the analogy. All right. Okay, because we haven't finished the snapshot. So I haven't told you what the cop knows. The cop knows, let's say that this is kind of a long, let's orient this a little bit better. Yeah, a month, okay. And let's say for reference, we start getting a little context like, actually, no, we don't have any more context. We're trying to draw off of this is 9 days only. And what other pieces of information can we deliver from only two tiny things? Crawling into animals and sleeping. Like weird stuff, but this is how you do it. Under the conditions that we now know, not only is it a pretty tall candle in 9 days, but it started off hot. It clearly, and I'm kind of getting into the future, I'm going into the previous. So now I'm kind of unfortunately dipping into, I'm dipping into the cop envisioning what led up to the situation. But I could already tell that this red area over here, it looks like it was a quick retest of something like, whoops. Like that. It looks like it's a retest of that to me. And then, so even though I'm not trying to go down this route, but then if you know that and that, then what do you think came here? Looks like a strong trend to me, like a pretty damn strong one. But we're not doing that yet. So the cop now knows that there are only two ways this conversation will end. 9 days in, the candle looks like this. We know what the guts of it look like because that was one of the two pieces of information we got, the shape and the time. It probably retested something. It retested something here. So hell, there might have been like 2 wicks or something like that before here. It almost looks like price over here was like boom, 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 almost like that. Anyway. And so it looks kind of like the rest of the month, because I can, I could see this and draw these. It looks like the month most likely will result in a pretty damn hot one. What can a hot month look like? Well, that's one of the two ways that it would probably go. It probably won't be a red one. Not because we can see the guts of it. There are some cases where this 9 days, had this yellow guts been like this, it did it all in 1 hour candle, a $10,000 1 hour candle. So instead of this, we have this different guts. So you wake up inside of a different animal. But the candle is the same. Right? But that's a different house call. That's not domestic violence. Kind of looks similar, but it ain't. Because the original piece of information we got, or the call, was the guts of the candle. This would be so it's the same candle, but a totally different situation. What comes next in that call that is about mental health or elderly, the two things that come next will be totally different even though this looks the same because the guts were different, right? Okay. And you need to just already know that, all right? Or that would be the next step after layer one. I apologize. You don't need to know that. The first step you do need to know. All right. And so it looks like it's a hot candle. What do hot candles look like? In what form? Well, if we're going to guess that how the rest of this goes, we know that, actually, copy it. All right. We know that hot candles can honestly go a lot higher up and then come back and rest at previous support. So previous support, right? Here, I can get rid of this because we've already repeated the idea that we only started with 2 pieces of information that actually look just like one, right? But we knew it's 9 days. So the time axis is very important, right? And I get rid of that, right? So it looks like one way a hot candle could happen if this is a strong trend, the cop knowing how the conversation will end, is a lot of times they will wick really hot in the middle of the month, like the 20th, and then it needs to come down and form another higher low. So if I could extend this guy, oops, what that would look like in the guts is, this is 9 days. I'm gonna have to move this over. All right. I'm going to squish the month together. But one of the ways the month would probably end is, I mean, the trend would probably stay. And it looks like it's just do it again, honestly. This looks like a strong trend. So like, let's say this is the 20th of the month, but we know it's a hot candle. So the breakout of this high is probably going to be a hot one. You know, bam. And then rest on this support and maybe base out. And that's the rest of the month. And the candle would look like this, exactly. And that is the X. But it's only 9 days long. We don't know if that's going to happen. But we do know it's probably X is one of the best guesses. Most common way. All from this and knowing it's 9 days. And we're still on the block. We're not on either sides of the block. It just goes so much deeper from one piece of information to 2 pieces. And then the circle, we know that it has to be in the context of a fairly hot candle. It's going to be green, probably a pretty aggressive one. So let's say that, you know, an aggressive one sometimes is more like this. Just a normal, you know, we gotta have this guy right here. That. Those would be the 2 best guesses on how that month would end. And so this would be the other thing that the cop knew would probably happen. Cop knows it's one of these 2. So here's our call. Come over. And so what needs to be processing is once you start getting a little bit of information, ding, I got enough. Now I can draw conclusions. I have this piece of information right here over, you know, on 41st Street. Not that there'd be, you know, I'm not going down. I'm not doing any, you know, stuff like that. But domestic violence, ding, 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 right? Domestic violence to age 25 and 28. And that's probably like having 9 days of information. So you know it's not, you know, 50-year-olds drunk and fighting. The cop knows from this point it's a young couple because they gave him that information. I was given this information. It was 9 days long. So now I know it's domestic violence 25 and 28. I got the street number first, told to head over, heard the rest of it. Now I know instantly the rest of the call will be this or this because of the information given here. I instantly know. And I know that the month will close one of those two ways most likely, and I know what that will look like. So this one is the first one. If this were to happen, that's exactly what it looks like on the month. There are other ways it could happen too. All it has to do is hit that line and stop here. But it could like jiggle around it. I mean, hell, it could like jiggle around way up here. You could change all of this. The only thing you can't change is that point and that point. That's it. Shh. Go. Can't be here. Don't break my concentration, midgets. Okay. What do you need? Yes, you can turn it on. Go. Oh my goodness. Kids go to school tomorrow. All right, go. Okay. All right. So, it's not to say that it has the guts of this month have to look like this, because I instantly know there's a ton of variation because I can wiggle these dots around. All I have to do is keep that the same and that the same. And no matter what, this will look the same. So there are tons of things. I mean, hell, it could go technically like this. Like the 6-month candle closure back, like that's what that looked like. The 6-month candle closure, what month was it? Was it October? No, that doesn't make sense. June. No, it had to be June. What am I thinking? Yeah, June, July, middle of the year. Was it that far back? Where Bitcoin went up like 10% and then like went all the way down. It was a circus show, right? Y'all remember that? That was stupid. And it could look like that too in the guts. You just know you can't move that point and that point. But you know that price typically doesn't do that unless there's FOMC on top of a huge, a huge closure, a quarterly or a 6-month. So if it's not a quarterly or 6-month, well, this shit ain't happening. So now you can start limiting the scope of everything that happens between this point and this point, and you just know what's most common. So if I have to go from here to here, and this is roughly, let's say, another 8 days or 6 days, and this happened prior, I mean, it might want to base longer on this high because when it retested the previous high, which is probably what happened here, it didn't test it for very long. So this time, to retest this before maybe going up, it'll at least go sideways, right? And then the next month, I kind of know, well, I mean, there is a way that it could spill down. Like that, it's going to be a red month. Like if it closed like that, honestly, so let's go down that rabbit hole. So we got the snapshot. We completed the COP in the car. Getting the call, we got all the information. We have drawn the two most likely conclusions. We know what they look like inside and out from a hot air balloon 10,000 feet above the house and inside the house, how loud the house probably is. Probably have kids crying when I show up, right? 25 and 28, probably kids screaming, crying, like, damn, what am I going to walk into? You just know it. That's why you got to get here. All right. Now it goes deeper though, like way deeper. That is just step one. Or no, that's step two. Because we drew the conclusion what would happen next to complete the unit of 1 month. All right. And then we completed the call at 1 month. All right. Now let's say that so the month started here, right? Okay. Now let's say this was a whole month. And let's see how much changing one piece of information. So remember, we started with 2 pieces of information. I'm keeping one the same. Like, this shit is cool as hell. Watch this. Like, I think I'm going to do a better job this time. This moment, what we're getting ready to have here, might be when you hit the thumbs up in the next 3 minutes. So we were only given this damn shape and told how much time it was, and we made all those conclusions. Only, like within the candle. We finished the candle. Now we have a finished candle, but it's the same exact shape. So what is the difference? What other conclusions can we draw? So instead of going through step 1 again, which we've already envisioned if it were 9 days, right? Once again, I would challenge you, you need to look behind me and know instantly what the candle shape looks like. You need to know that. Now this is 30 days exactly of price action. So we know the month started, I pointed to the wrong damn thing. Price started right there. So zoom way in. Way in. Price started right there at the first 1 second of the month, right there. This is a whole 30 days now. Only changing one piece of information. Now we're getting a totally different thing. But we're not going to focus on the middle. We're going to focus on the beginning, what comes before, and what comes after, now that this is 30 days. But to quickly show what the shape would look like, I could stop dicking around with my chart. Okay, but we now know that it's a closed monthly candle. So it's the same damn first candle we had over there, right? But I think I erased it and stretched it into what it would be, if it were a month. So as of right, so if this month completed like that, boom. That's exactly what the month looked like. And it closed. Now that it's a month and not 9 days, all right? And so when we peek inside, so this is that white creature inside of Star Wars. And there's a live one, right? You're just seeing the damn animal. And then the camera pans over to a totally different scene where all you see are guts on the table. But it's the same animal. But it's the guts on the table. You don't see the white animal. You're seeing a bunch of red and meat and flesh. The stuff you probably don't want to envision. Sorry, if you have a weak stomach, I apologize. That's the guts. That's the animal. What came before it? And I had a team. He's a team leader now. I had a team leader do a really good job. Once I did the first one, then he automatically saw the second most likely option, what came first. And then before I even started talking about what comes next, he already got both of them. I was really happy. I'm going to maybe upload a recording of that snippet of the Discord with me yelling, exactly! It's like, yes! All right, somebody sees it. I was yelling. All right. But seriously, look at this. What came before this month? And how can we know? Okay, this line is here for reference. The month started exactly here. That's what the candle looks like. How can we tell what the hell happened first? Only having this piece of information, knowing it's 30 days. Well, let's not consider this piece. Even though this is the first piece of information we got, in order to see what came prior, we don't know which is the best approach. I would guess this is the best approach because I get more information, right? But this might trump it. So let's go find out. I'm not for sure where to look, right? Where I can actually just see it, but I don't know how my brain got to that point, and how you would get there. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So in order for somebody to see this, I'm not sure if you'd start here or here. So let's start here. What came before this candle? Let's look at this shape. And it would help if there were a little bit of context. But that's all we have. It's closed month. We're building the context. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, give me some more context. I mean, yeah, I'd love more context. But we're seeing what we can work with right here. Nothing else. Right there. Stare at that damn candle. Know it's a month. And it's a moderately large one, right? Because we knew it was a moderately hot month. What came before it? Well, it looks like a lot of times that this wick, right? It often likes to test something. But this one looks pretty short. So what does that mean about price leading up to it? It closed pretty damn strong, and it closed at a support. So it didn't just spike straight up and down like that other 6-month closure example. There's a lot of strength there. So if there's going to be a lot of strength in a month, right? What are the most common ways that it gets to this point? Just seriously, like, I want you to think about it, because I know most of you aren't, like, you need to just think for a second. I would say that it was a green candle. I would strongly say it's a green candle. And I would say based off of, so yeah, with this information, I kind of wish I started here. I want this one, but I'm trying to do it from this angle. So I know it's green. Okay, so just start with green. We know that it was probably a fairly, with this information, it looks like it probably closed strong. So I don't know how big this guy was, right? That's what she said. But I know it's green. That's just automatically what I know. So now I'm the cop and visualizing what led up to the scenario. Well, probably alcohol. So probably a green candle. Probably alcohol is what happened before this, the finished call. So we're placing alcohol on the chart. Okay. Now, let's say 25 to 28 years old. Okay, we got to think of that. All right, that's in the candle too. Let's look at this. Well, if it is a strong closure, what does that mean of the wick? The wick probably wasn't that big. Because a month that chart, like a month that, price action that charges and closes the month strong, and the month ends right there. That would be a candle that looks like this, a bare head, like a bald candle. Those happen. Not too common. Bare bottom candles happen too. So that's what a bare bottom, it would look like this. It would race up and close right there at the top at the end of the month. Already know instantly, right? And that's one way, honestly, that so I can assume that this was a pretty small wick. What else? And so now that we can assume this, well, I mean, kind of looking at it, does it have to, does this make sense? So what if this were accurate, what would be, could this make sense? Maybe if you had a month here, a month here, month here, that could make sense, right? Maybe a green month there. That could make sense. What happened prior? But we're in a downtrend. We're in a bear market. So that ain't how it happened. Right? So this was potentially getting close to the top of a rally now. But we're getting other so we didn't know that in the chart. So that's not fair. We can't draw that conclusion. I apologize. So this is what we're stuck with for now. That's all I can do. I can't work out anything else using just the candle body. I need more information. But I haven't even used the information that was given to me. I just approached thinking about the situation differently. Trying to forget about what I was told and then drawing upon just what I know of that subject. Like alcohol. Over the intercom, did likely alcohol involved? I heard bottles clinking. Like, no, they didn't say that. They didn't give me that information. I'm drawing those conclusions. All right. Now, so give me the original information. What else? Now, how much more accurate can I make this? Or will it change? So we know the candle ended. Oops, I've stretched this out. Sorry. Right there. And this is what our candle looked like right there. Okay. So now we're kind of focused on this is the guts of that guy. What can I add to this knowing what happened prior? Well, to me, it looks like a pretty damn strong trend to me because this guy down here, its wick that it made, this guy here, it was done in a hurry. So the bulls were absolutely in control, right? So I can make this candle bigger now. They were in a hurry to buy. Like, people were buying. So what does that mean? Well, market makers already knew that they're going to keep buying, right? But they need to kick some people out of the trade, go grab some liquidity, so out of their longs or whatever. Or their algos simply need to touch something. Like, why would this happen? Why would this happen before a green candle? In the context of it happened in a hurry. Because most monthly backfills, right, which means the wick of a candle, on the monthly scale, because this is a month, they last on average 4 to 9 days. Like, that's kind of, well, I don't know if that's safe to say average. It is safer to say in a bell curve of all candle wicks, how many days long did it take to make that candle wick before the candle body flipped the right direction, right? So the lower candle wick or the upper candle wick of a red candle. So we're talking about the wick of an upper wick of a red candle or the lower wick of a green candle only right now. Just focus on that backfill, right? It's a red candle, but it went up first before going down. Or it's a green candle, it went down first before going up. We're focused on that specifically. How long does that take? And if you go past on the month, even though there isn't a big sample size on the monthly, there isn't. But, it's like about 150. That's it. Only about 150 candles, monthly candles. So there's not a lot of information. But you could say that, it's very rare for this to happen. So this is like, it happened in the first hour. The wick down on a green candle went, but boom, and every other hour besides the first of that month were green. Like, it never went below that line again where it started. Or right here, sorry. So it only went below its open for a hot second, and then it never even saw it again. Just taken right off. Not very common. It only took 1 hour. And here's 1 day. Here is 2 day. 3 day. 4 day. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The middle distribution, even though technically you do a standard deviation from the middle, but let's do the middle distribution zone. It's 4 to 9 days, okay? At least within the sample size that I took, which might have been all of it. But honestly, I can't remember how far back I went. But I have done this before. But we're drawing this conclusion based off of this only. Do you see what we're doing? Like, we can even, like, you can see bell curves and shit. Like, we know this. You should know this. Or you would need to get yourself to that, just thinking, drawing conclusions. Like, what else can I see from this? So this was a really fast one. which means on the bell curve, because it only went below the line where it was red for a hot second, and then it flipped green, so that's a green wick to a green candle, and the month ended hot. So what does that mean? On this bell curve, it's one of the hotter ones. So what does that tell you about the previous candle? If it's going to be one of the like rare hot ones, hot tamale, doesn't happen a lot. What does that mean? It means the prior candle was probably pretty big. Or it had a moderate size with a strong ass closure. It's one of those two. So let me make myself small. It's either something like that, oops, shit. Yeah, it actually could come in a lot of forms. Hell, it could even be something like, that. And it had a strong closure with a moderately sized body. And so the tail, actually, there are a lot of variations that could happen, because the most important thing is the closure. Like, we're focused on the closure. That's option one. It was a green candle with a strong closure, which, because it closed strong, even though it wasn't huge in, this part here, let's get that. Even though it wasn't huge, it was like bulls definitely closed the month. So fuck, we're buying. Let's just go test this EMA and we are buying, right? But if you, so let's say it's like this. It's a normal candle, kind of plain old Jane. It's possible. But also within that variation of only a strong closure with a moderate sized body, it could be this too. And so this would be something like in 2017. I think this did happen once. One of the candles does look like this, I think. It might have a hotter wick, actually. But it's when, God, what does it look like on the chart? It goes. Yeah, the whole correction happens in a month. And the month is like, let's say, the month started there or something. And it was a big drawdown to the weekly 10. All in a month, from there to there. That's 1 month. That's what that candle would be. Let's go see if there is one. I'm pretty sure there is. And again, I'm drawing all of these conclusions. And what do you think it hit? What did I say, the weekly 21 or the weekly 10? If I said weekly 10, I'm going to change my answer to weekly 21. Well, it might have gone between. I'm going to put both of them on. But that's exactly what it hit. Like, I can tell by looking at it, right? And I can draw all these conclusions based off of just that yellow shit, knowing, and then really what's important is the time. Are you seeing how important time is? Like, the conclusions you draw based off the information, the visual, it totally changes, because the same visual information is totally different on a different time frame. So let's put on the, actually, let's mark this and then go, is that the weekly? So it's the weekly 21. It dipped slightly below the weekly 21. Damn. I don't remember doing that. I thought it hit pretty comfortable. 4 hours probably too small. So that's like the month starting right here or something. Month starts big green, like it's actually a huge red candle at that point. Flips green, has a nice structure. It ends, actually it had a wick at the top. It ends here, right there. And that would be exactly, that's actually what had to have happened because that we already confirmed that is the same candle shape. So that is where it started. Should be anyway. Oh, the month started right. Oh, well, it's okay. So I said it started about right here. It actually started here. Close enough. Same horizontal, okay? So I missed that option. Yeah, start right there. Because I'm zoomed in on the first of the month and I'm looking down at the exact hour. All right. Are you seeing what I'm doing here? Like, I'm all of this information, if you just do it enough, you can start drawing these damn conclusions. And that's why I can draw price paths that hit. And this is how you get to it. Right? But that's only, so let's say that the first thing was a blue box. So let's say the blue box represents this candle. Whenever you see blue boxes, you almost always see one of two things touching it. You either see a yellow rectangle, or you see a, just, you have to imagine this scenario. Okay, I'm not saying you've ever studied blue rectangles. Imagine. Or a red heart, okay? Yes, that's what we're doing, not Valentine's Day yet. So imagine you are in a scenario in the chart. You're looking at the stars. You don't know anything about astronomy. It's all foreign. You're lost in the charts. Don't know the difference between a planet and a star. Which people actually didn't know until like the 1700s. They called them, what did they call them? Floating stars. They didn't understand why they recessed back. And they came up with all these crazy mathematical solutions that actually worked up till like, I don't know, it was like computer simulations for thousands of years actually to try to explain it in a wrong way. And they just did limbo with math to try to explain it. It's a really neat story. But so whenever you look, so we're imagining being lost in the chart, but in just a quick second, we see a bunch of blue. And we know that almost every time we see blue, for some reason, we either see it like this. So what comes before it is a heart, or this. We don't know why. It's just we see a bunch of these. Like here, like this. Actually, shit. And sometimes before a blue one, you'll see a check. So we're going to take this to Sesame Street. Not to insult anybody's intelligence, just so you can see it differently. So imagine looking out there in the abyss, in the foreign land of price, and you see this Sesame Street shit, right? And then way over here, there are almost no blue boxes. Like you're seeing other stuff, but right here is a bunch of this. And then if you scroll way over here, you know, way back, you don't see any blue triangle or any blue rectangle, any blue squares. No, now you see blue squares again, and they're kind of together, and they always come, almost always, either with a heart or a yellow rectangle. Sometimes you'll get a check mark, sometimes you'll get that, but this is just what you're seeing. And that's all I'm doing with price. That's it. But it has numbers to it. And so we can tell, now we say to ourselves, well, why is it that it's so common that it's paired with yellow or paired with this? And when that is true, it's not like this. You don't see this very often, where they're all mixed, red, yellow, red, yellow, red. You don't see that. It's almost always kind of clumped together. Why? Because of trend. All right, I'll get on to your questions now. I'm not going to do the forward stuff, but we'll go on to questions. I hope that if I pulled any strings, even if it's just like a little, just a little bit, give me that thumbs up. If nothing made sense, I need you to thumbs down it, because this is a science experiment. And this was my second attempt at explaining something, I don't know, that like something that I don't know if you can find this anywhere else. I've never heard anybody talk about this. And again, the reason I went down this rabbit hole is because price is following the pattern I drew days ago. So I don't need to talk about it anymore. It's per the plan, rabbit hole, judge me, thumbs up, thumbs down. And for people on the recording, we'll see you. Check out these videos or playlists popping up before you get out of here. And on to the rest of the stream.